NANI?!
Parasite, movie directed by Bong Joon-ho and the CEO of That Adorable Face. Yes, I am talking about his movie today. My video is not going to be an informative video essay about the structural inequalities in class that are still resonant across all races and nationalities today. There are already a dozen of really well done deep dives on YouTube for that, so go check those out. But for my video, this is just me trying to figure out if I would be a good parasite or not. First of all, if you haven't seen this movie, please click away and watch the movie first. Big fat parasitic spoilers ahead, and I don't want to spoil it for you. Trust me on this one, it's definitely worth a watch. Just as a quick recap in case you haven't watched the movie in a while or can't really remember what happened, the movie follows a very poor family as the son gets a job tutoring the daughter of a very wealthy family, and he invites his sister to become the art teacher for the son. She in turn invites the dad to become the family driver, and the three of them work together to get rid of the housekeeper so the mom can usurp her position too. But the housekeeper has a secret of her own. A husband hiding in the underground bunker underneath the house who has been leeching off the rich family long before the Kims came along. The way I look at the parasites in the movie are in three different tiers. There's tier 1, the host, the wealthy Park family that feeds off the lower classes. Then there's the tier 2 parasite, the Kim family, barely enough to keep their heads above the water, but scrapes by. And then there's the tier 3 parasite, the housekeeper's husband living in the bunker underneath the house. Alright, let's just get this straight out of the way. I would never be able to survive tier 3. Small living space, no sunlight, relying on the wife housekeeper to bring me food, otherwise I'll starve or shit myself to death. Yeah, it's safe to say I'd die pretty quickly. You'd think this is similar to the self-quarantine we're in right now, but as far as I know, dude did not have Wi-Fi, he had little to no books, and just a toilet to walk to and from for exercise. I've already gone a little stir crazy to the point where I bought wood to make a planter, and I've already started putting it together just to do some work with my hands. Anyway, so the third tier parasite, we'll just call it 4 weeks in, and then we call time of death. But what about tier 2 parasite? Coincidentally enough, I am also a part of a family of 4. We have the same dynamics of the Kims too. Mom, dad, brother, and sister. That's me. So let's say if my family was in this terribly impoverished situation that the Kims are in, and my brother lucks out by getting networked into being a tutor for the rich girl. And then he helps me get the in to teach the son. That I think I could do. I mean, I'd probably have to get a million times better at acting, but I've been pretty good at bullshitting my art essays and interviews in the past, so I think I'd be able to pull it off. At this point, me and my brother would be pooling 2 incomes of a decent size, or at least decent enough for steady meals, but probably not enough to get a place outside of the ghetto just yet. Then comes the question whether to bring the dad in as a driver. Now keep this in mind, my brother and I have only usurped 2 positions in the Park family so far. One is a given considering that the previous tutor had plans to go abroad. And the other one was a vacancy because no one before me had been able to play into the mother's grandiose views of her son's art. Now the limo driver's position is pretty secure. There's no reason why he would want to leave his job, nor for anyone to really fire him. So to frame him for using the company car for his sexcapades is a huge line to cross. If we're being 100% real about this is probably where I would stop parasiting. This probably holds me back a lot, but it's a known psychological thing where people who don't have that much are scared to lose what they have, even if it's at the expense of gaining something potentially far greater. But luckily, my mom's the one with the great foresight. We'd probably hold a family meeting over this because in my mom's case, I'm pretty sure she'd be like, I am not living in this crap shack a second longer. Let's get the money for a house in a better neighborhood and then we figure out what happens. Okay? Okay. So that would give us a target to aim for. Theoretically, my brother would only have his job until his friend comes back from studying abroad. And I can't say there's safety in my job as an art teacher because there's nothing really incentivizing that friend to keep my secret too. But let's say, even in the best case scenario, he takes his tutoring job back and I keep my job as an art teacher. My entire family then goes from 2 incomes back to 1. Mine. So if that's the case, our goal should be to get as much money as fast as we can before the friend comes back. Considering the limo driver position pays pretty handsomely, yes, I would scheme my way into getting my dad that job too, because getting rid of him would not come at a big risk to either me or my brother's positions as tutors. As a side note, I would also tell my brother to cut the flirty stuff with the rich daughter. His friend specifically asked him to keep her safe from guys until he got back. Dude can straight out destroy us if he finds out you've been giving her the hand grab while he's away. But if he still likes you, there's a chance he'll let us slide still being the art teacher and the limo driver. Come on, dude. You know your bro's gonna come back eventually. Bone whoever you want, as long as it doesn't interfere with our job security. I know, super Asian of me to say that, but when we're living on free fumigations, your love life ain't a priority. Mine wouldn't be either. Just saying. You might think that if he eventually marries her, the ends will justify the means, because we'd be for real rich and never have to work again. But no, even the movie addressed this. There's no real way to play that type of con unless the family's willing to play that for their entire lives, which would never truly allow their two families to merge. And obviously, if the Parks find out the truth, there's probably no way in hell they'd let their daughter go for a guy like that. Yep, best not to open that can of worms at all. Young man limo driver gets fired, dad gets hired. Now, this is where I'd really draw the hard line to stop parasiting. In the film, there's one more position to take, the housekeepers. Apart from the Kim family pulling one of the greatest and most coordinated cons I've ever seen, I doubt my family could ever do that, there are just too many new people crowding around this family now. The housekeeper had survived the change in ownership of the house. She's more OG than the Park family living there right now. She would know the house and the family backwards and forwards. She would have a rapport with the wife that neither my brother, my dad, nor me would have because it's been built upon years and years of trust. If she so much as smells something foul, she can probably have us all investigated and find out who we really are. Just look at her right there. First time I watched it, I swear, I was thinking, Ho be plotting something, y'all be careful. Let's just keep in mind that me, my brother, and my dad have all injected ourselves into the Park family within a relatively short amount of time. I can't speak to everyone, but I would think that most people would be wary of so many new people entering their lives in such a short span of time. I know I would. And beyond everything, as parasites, we need to keep the host as unsuspecting as long as possible. So anything that threatens that is not worth the risk. So sorry, Mom, but you'll just have to spend your time house hunting and looking for a good deal while we make the dough. I know other people would have still exercised the housekeeper and just not opened the door when this happens, but for me, I can't even go that far. We're working towards a house in the better neighborhood, and that's it. Anything that jeopardizes that is going to be a hard nope. It's one of those things where you would weigh your pros and cons. Very similar to when you're deciding between jobs. Some jobs will pay you ridiculous amounts of cash, but will work you to the bone and you won't have any time for friends or family. Other jobs will pay you less, but give you a better work-life balance. Each decision you make depends on what your goals are for that time. If you need a huge influx of cash to make your initial payment on a house, then you might have to take that brutal 80-hour-week job. But after you secure that, maybe you can move to a lesser stress job where the pay is not as great, but you'll be able to spend time with your family because at that time your goals may have shifted. You might not want to make boatloads of cash in lieu of missing the best years of parenthood. So in this case, after my dad gets the in, we stop. Technically, you could get away with the mom coming in as a new housekeeper just as long as you don't let the old housekeeper back in the house. But even with the power of hindsight, that's not something I'd personally risk. I'd be far more comfortable bringing home only 3 incomes, and any income we lose from the mom's missing salary, we'd have to find elsewhere. So that's my take on the Tier 2 Parasite. Tier 1 ain't gonna happen because there is no way I could be that pretty and naive. Unless YouTube wants to promote me more? Sad face. Now I pass the question off to you. How far do you think you would be able to parasite yourself into this family? Would you go as far as injecting your entire family into the Park house? Or would you not even go past to tutoring the daughter? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys next time. And oh my god, that ending, it's like, way to give me a ray of hope, and then kill it with Hurricane Sandy a second later.